Hi, Dr. Morey with Uncivilized Vitality. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. This video is about community. Community number 2, communicating on purpose. We have the 5 vital paths: uncivilized movement, nourishment, restoration, hygiene, and community. These are the 5 aspects that contribute to your health and happiness. Each one of them is composed of 3 primary principles. This video is about community number 2, communicating on purpose. Okay, so community number 1, stories and ritual are vital. So human beings are narrative creatures, and we have to learn to communicate and respect each other's internal narratives and how society functions. Number 2 is communicating on purpose. This involves critical thinking, reflective listening, and a few other skills. And then community number 3 is to not mistake the forest for the trees. That one's a little deeper. We'll do a different set of videos on that. Today's video is learning to communicate on purpose, and I'll tell you a little story from Socrates. Socrates, one of the great philosophers, and he had this test for communicating with people called the 3 sieves. I've also heard it called the 3 nets. So I'll say the 3 nets because the story makes more sense when you think of nets. Not everyone knows what a sieve is. Some of you would call it a colander, or the little thing you drain your spaghetti in. That's a sieve. And the story goes, Socrates was approached by an acquaintance of his from another town, who ran up and said, "Socrates, I've got something I want to tell you that I heard about a friend of yours." And Socrates says, "Okay, but before you tell me, let's run it through the 3 sieves, or the 3 nets, to find out if this is going to be quality communication." And the friend said, "Okay." And Socrates says, "Well, the first net or sieve is truth. So is what you're about to tell me about this mutual acquaintance of ours, is it true?" And Socrates' friend said, "Well, I don't really know if it's true. I didn't stop to verify that." Socrates said, "Okay, great. So we don't know whether it's true or not. Now the second net, is it kind? Is this something that's positive, is kind?" And the friend said, "Oh no, absolutely. This is some pretty juicy gossip." Socrates says, "Okay, so far you want to tell me something that you don't know if it's true or not, and it's definitely not a kind thing. It's more salacious." So now the friend's starting to get a little less excited about his news. And then Socrates says, "The third net, is it useful?" And the friend said, "Well, I guess not. It's not really anything you can do about it." So Socrates says, "So you're excited to communicate to me something that is unkind, or has a negative outlook on our mutual friend. You don't know whether it's true or not, and it'll be of no use to me at all, simply extraneous information." And with that, the test of the 3 nets, Socrates was able to determine and help his friend understand that sort of gossip, or that sort of communication, is not necessary. And if anything, it's just going to make Socrates feel bad about his friend. If you don't know if it's true, if it's not kind, and if it's not useful, those are the 3 nets, or the 3 sieves of Socrates to ascertain whether your communication is going to be helpful or not. The Zen Buddhists would talk about Jon D, the 8-fold noble path. They talk about right speech. That's very important. It's one of the 8 arms of proper karma, is saying things that are kind, true, useful, or skillful speech, they would say. And then communication is so important in the Zen Buddhist tradition that it appears again as one of the 5 vows. I vow to speak only that which is true. Thoughts become words, and our words become actions. It's very important to control how you communicate with someone. As always in Uncivilized Vitality, we caution you to put most of your effort into not being offended by errant communication, instead of spending more your energy trying not to offend others. You can't control what others do. You can't control whether they're going to be offended by the things you say. You can only take steps to make sure it's kind, truthful, and useful, a bit of information before you communicate it. If they choose to be offended by that, there's not much you can do about it. If you like that sort of content, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share the channel, let Logan know that you're looking for more of the philosophical applications of the 5 vital paths, and we'll go from there.